Well, welcome to Country Living with the Wades. I'm Philip,
I'm Deborah.
and we are God, family, and country. God bless and enjoy our videos.
The flexibility of your raised bed.
Now, I should really give you an update as well.
As you can see, I planted 3 of my strawberry runners.
Today is February the 1st, and I'm cutting spinach from our winter garden. If you're enjoying our videos, like and subscribe. And I'm back to planting carrots again. But I tell you, after 6 or 7 different trials of trying this way and this way and this way, I think I've actually finally gotten to the perfect way of doing your carrots. Now in this video, I planted about 75 or 80 carrot seeds, and then about 2.5 months we should have those carrots, and they should be perfectly shaped, long, nice and thick carrots, and the germination should be 100%. With the method I just used for planting these carrots, I think I should have the best crop I've ever had with the least amount of trouble. Please like and subscribe. It keeps us going. God bless you. I've just taken the collards out. I've turned this with a shovel, just taking it, just stab straight in, pull it up and flip it over like this. That's all. And it's soft, easy soil because this is topsoil and compost. Really good dirt for growing carrots in. As I was turning it with a shovel, I came across several worms. I guess they're the red worms like you use for fishing, and that's a good indication. I still have some clumps in here, but they just break up easy. Every single time I do the carrots, I feel like I'm doing a science experiment, but now I think I've really got it down pat to just a few basic things, and that's what we're going to look at when I plant the carrots this time. Step number 1, prepare your soil. Make sure it's a good soft soil, that you're tilled for at least 8 inches deep, because the carrots will grow that deep and they need to be growing in soft soil. Now this, like I said, is a mixture of topsoil, compost, and potting soil. Step number 2, wet your soil. Pre-wet it. Before you plant your seeds, you want to make sure it's all really soaked well. Look, here's a worm that just came out when I was soaking. Look at there, a nice one. That'd be a good fish bait. Really, you see me just watering it one time. You need to water it at least 2 or 3 times to make sure you get a good depth of soil wetness, because the dry soil underneath will absorb the moisture from the top and dry out the top even faster. And carrots must stay damp during the full germination period. While I'm back, I've watered this down a couple of times now, so the water's penetrated pretty deep. So now I'm going to press this down where the seeds are going to be, just to tighten the soil up a little bit. So the first row will be about right here. I'll just sort of press it down a little bit, good and tight. It just sort of helps. There, that's the first row. All right, so this is the piece of PVC pipe that I've marked every 3 inches. I have a mark because I want my carrot spacing to be every 3 inches. And I'm going to make the rows about 8 inches apart. So now I'm just going to take my fingers and I'm going to press holes in right there. And that's probably close enough to that tomato plant, because the tomato plant's going to get pretty good size and I don't want it to be shading the carrots. All right, that's the first row. I'm going to press now for the second row. I'm using a board for 2 reasons. One is I need it to be able to press tight down on the dirt to compact it some, so the seed gets a good solid fit against it. And also it keeps me with making a straight line when I do my planting. All right, here's the next row. I'm doing the same thing again every 3 inches. It's not like this is hard to do or anything. It's pretty easy. I mean, you get your fingers dirty once and that's it. All right, I'm just going to do 2 right now just to show the technique. So from moving the camera over to this side, you can see my holes a little bit better, and I'm making them about that deep. That's actually deeper than what the carrots are supposed to be planted, but I'm not going to fill the hole completely. Now, this is the carrots I'll be using. It's a Morris, Ferry Morris carrot long imperator. They say days to germination is 8 to 12 days, and that really varies with carrots. They're not consistent. And the depth is 1/4 to 1/2 inch, and the spacing is rows every 15 inches and 3 inches between the carrots. Now the 15 inches rows, that I felt like was a little bit too much. I did that the last time, so I'm bringing them up to about 8 inches this time. There's not a whole lot of ways to sow your carrot seeds because they are so small, and there's a lot of, well, this works and this works and this works, but I always end up just doing them by hand. It's a little bit monotonous. So, and the seeds are so small, I'm going to drop 2 seeds in each one. I just sort of put a couple in my fingers, and I just sort of twist my fingers, and I can see the seed fall. That only took a minute. I'll put my excess seeds back in. I have to be careful, it's really windy today. I'll go ahead and I'll finish this out, and I'll have about 20 carrots per row. Now that all the carrot seeds have been sown, I'm going to take this. This is a, I think I've showed you this before. This is a Jiffy natural and organic seed starter mix. So it's easy to use. I'm just going to sprinkle this over all of it like this as I go. Are all been sown, and they're all covered. Everything now is ready to soak everything down again. Now remember, I soaked it real heavy. You saw me soak it once. Really, I soaked it 3 times. Then I came in and I sowed the seeds, and now I've covered everything. I'm gonna water it one more time. Get my little water hose out here. And I'm being careful to water it to make sure I soak everything down without puddling and washing the seeds down. And this soil is real soft. It soaks up the water really quick. So I don't really have that much of a problem with puddling, but I don't want to wash the seeds away. I want to keep them exactly where I planted them. Now, I'll be soaking this down again in a few more minutes. But what I want to do is put enough water on there to make sure that it sort of washes the seed starting mix down tight against the seeds. I don't really need to come in and press everything down. All I have to do really is just water it, let the water do its own job of weighting everything down onto it. So in a review so far, what we've done is we prepared the soil, made sure it was good and soft, made sure it was tilled at least 8 inches deep because these carrots will go down 8 inches deep. If they hit something hard, they deform. Just make sure your soil is properly prepared. It's the right type of soil. It's a loose soil that drains easily and has compost or potting mix or other materials blended in with it so that it doesn't pack down and get hard. Then you go in, you soak it down to make sure it's wet for real deep. Now, if you put just a little water on there and you think, okay, I watered it well, you can come back in 30 minutes and scoop out something this deep and you'll see your water only penetrated about 2 inches. So you need to soak it several times to make sure that water really gets down deep. Then I press the board down to tighten the soil up where the seeds are going to be, and also to help me make sure that I do everything in a straight line. Then I make my holes 3 inches apart, and I drop about 2 seeds in each one. And then afterwards, I come back and I cover it with, and I'm using the Jiffy. There's other brands out there too, but I really like the Jiffy myself because, like I said, it's pre-moistened and it doesn't try to wash away as soon as I put the water to it for the first time. I've covered all the seeds with my starting mix, and like I said, I'm using the Jiffy over here because I like it. It's pre-moistened, and now I've got everything ready. You would think, okay, I'm finished, but this is also the first week of May. The first week of May in lower Alabama. Now we're almost in the panhandle of Florida, so the sun gets really hot really easily in the middle of the day, especially if we're having several hot days in a row. And it's so easy to dry this out. You might end up needing to water it twice a day. You may have to water it, in the evening and then come back about lunchtime and water it. But most of us have to work and do other things. My solution to that is I've got some leftover screen that I used in repairing a screen porch. So I'm going to put this over to reduce the sunlight that comes in, and that also helps keep the moisture from evaporating. Plus, in addition to that, once I have the screen on it, I can still spray water over it. The water will go straight through the screen. So let me get started with that. Well, that didn't really take any time. That went pretty quick. So my screen's not touching the seed bed. It's raised up everywhere, at least a couple of inches. So I can just wash water straight through this. And if necessary, I can get by with just doing it once during the day, maybe once every morning. But the water will go right through it. I can still water everything very well, very quickly. So this should give me 75 or 80 carrots, somewhere in that nature, in about 2.5 months. Now I still have one job left, and it's the job that's the hardest for me because it takes a while and it's sort of tedious. There's 2 or 3 seeds in every one of these spots. When these plants get up to be about 2.5 inches or so like that, I need to come in and snip off so that I just have one every 3 inches. And that's the last thing I have to do to the carrots. Just keep them watered and keep them wet, and then let nature take care of it. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and be blessed.